to the Everyday is a New Day podcast and live show. The inspirational show about moving forward and choosing to be more of you. Transmuting the self-doubt and stepping into courageously aligned confidence in who you uniquely are. My name is Kim O'Neill. I'm a twice certified transformational confidence coach, Reiki master, best-selling author, and former crime analyst who now helps empathic, heart-centered individuals shatter the noise of self-doubt, find clarity on what self-love really looks like, and the courage to be peacefully grounded in who you've always known you are, from the inside out. Join me for the live shows on Facebook and YouTube, and visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com for more info. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome, everybody. We are back for another awesome guest interview. And before I do that, let me say a quick hello to all those who are with us live on Facebook or YouTube. Hello to Helene. I see you here already saying hello to us. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and let us know in the comments where you are joining us from today and what's going on in your world. What's going on in your world? And with that, I'm excited because we have a guest today who I have interviewed her a few times. She is a close friend of mine. So special of her to join us today. And we're going to go with the flow is what we're going to do. I was about to say we're going to carry on continue the conversation that we started with a couple of months ago when I had her on, but we love to go with the flow. So that's exactly what we're going to do. With that said, I am going to bring her up on screen. Welcome, Doris Victoria.
Yahoo! It's good to be here again. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here, Doris. I love when we connect every single time. And we had such an amazing conversation a few months ago. And I'm a fan of going with the flow with some structure. But it was so clear that there was so much more for us to still talk about last time. And so, so I was like, okay, we're going to bring her back again. So that's what we're doing today. But before we get into a conversation, I do just want to remind people who you are. Doris Victoria is a transformational and re-connective light coach. And she supports highly sensitive truth seekers, healers, and empaths on their journey to trust, alignment, and self-empowerment. And Doris, would you like to share with us a little bit more about what you're doing these days and how you are feeling lit up in the world?
Oh God, I feel lit up by service, by joyfully serving people. And what am I doing? I mean, I just got this beautiful testimonial from a client this morning who said, "Thank you so much. You helped me to remind me of who I was when I was a little girl. And with all these conditionings I took on, I kind of forgot. And you also taught me that it's okay to be sensitive. You taught me it's okay to appreciate all life forms, because she was conditioned in a way that she had to toughen up and she had to kill little bugs and whatever, but she didn't want to harm any life. And so that's my bread and butter, Kim. When I can help people remember who they truly are, yes. Oh my God. And then to see what is shifting for them in the outside world is just amazing. I mean, she just signed a client for 6 months now. This is her first online coaching client. She's doing some sort of creative therapy. She's painting sacred geometry, actually. And I encourage her to go with that, because this is what brings her joy. And here she goes after our first 6 months. She has 8 clients now. She just signed up another one, and it's flowing. It's going. It's just beautiful.
Oh my goodness, Doris, I love that. So I totally get that feeling of being so on purpose. This is what I hear. I hear you speaking about how you are so on purpose and how you're helping other people be in greater alignment with who they are and be even more on purpose with their work and their mission and service in the world. So I love it, love it, love it. So hello to Nori, who's also with us. And I see Keith is also with us. Good to see you all. Love, love, love it.
Good to have you here.
So Doris, okay, one of the questions that I know we already addressed this, but for our audience, I don't believe last time we had Doris Victoria on that we touched on what does letting your light shine mean to her. And she's actually already kind of answered the question, but I just want to go ahead and acknowledge it and put it up on the screen here. When asked, what does letting your light shine mean to Doris Victoria, she said to be who you truly are. I love that. And Doris, that is also bringing to mind something else I wanted to share. This combines with your book that you have written. And I'm going to pop that up on the screen here. Mm-hmm. You wrote The Meaning of God, Love Explained on Rumi's Poetry.
Yeah.
So the reason why I wanted to share this is because of the Rumi's poetry aspect and you saying be who you truly are. Will you tell us why Rumi's poetry is so meaningful for you? And how does that speak to being who one truly is?
That's a great question. God, Kim, I love your intelligent questions. It shows so much who you are. And I just love chatting with you. So Rumi has been my biggest ally, as I already mentioned, in finding the divinity within myself. You know, we come to Earth, we get conditioned to believe that we're small and tiny and little and victims of what happens to us. Whereas what happens to us actually happens for us. It's always right. A gift of the universe to show us where we are and where we can transform energy that needs to be transcended and put into light and more flow, you know. So Rumi really helped me to understand what God really means and how we are all it. And I call God it because to me it contains both energies. When we see the yin and the yang sign, there's the divine feminine and the divine masculine within. And those two are, you know, connected with each other. And I believe that even though we are born in a physical gender, when we come back to this planet, we as spirit beings, we are androgynous. We basically contain everything. We have the essence of everything. We are not a specific gender. And I think Anita Moorjani has confirmed it, who has passed on to the other side, but then came back. And she said that in essence, we have no gender. Anyway, her book is just amazing. For those of you, Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjani, I can only recommend it. That book really changed me. So back to Rumi. Rumi's understanding of God has broadened my understanding of who I am, and that it's okay to be joyfully me, to love who I am, my weaknesses, my strengths, far away from the conditioning of the world. You know, we all get specific ideas, and that's where we are basing our ego upon. We all get ideas of, oh, this is what you did well, and this is what you didn't do well. And so as kids, we want to be loved, so we wouldn't do what we didn't do well, you know? Ooh. And so anyway, just beyond, and Rumi said this beautifully, beyond, how did he say? Beyond the field, no, beyond the right doing and the wrong doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. And I'll get, I'm saying it. This neutrality I got through meditation. I kind of, my whole life has been searching for who I truly was. And in stillness and with Rumi's poetry, I found, and through the feedback of other people, of course, but more through stillness and being in nature and really looking into my heart and what is important to me. And then seeing myself through the eyes of life and love itself, you know, not really seeing myself through the eyes of other people, but how would love see me? How would life see me?
Oh, Doris, let's pause right there with that one. That is such a good question. And I just want to allow a moment for our audience to take that in. How would love see you? How would love see you? Doris, I love deep conversations. I sometimes don't even notice when I'm in the midst of a deep conversation because it feels so just kind of natural and comfortable for me. But I recognize right now that this is a deep conversation and I love it. And thank you. Thank you for being so willing to, yes, go to those deep places because we are all deep beings. I mean, we are all deep, very deep.
This physical body that we have is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Kim, we're so much more than that.
Okay, so this brings me to another Rumi quote, and this was one I had asked Doris. Doris, what's an empowering quote that you'd like to share with our audience? And she shared another Rumi quote: "You are not a drop in the ocean; you are the entire ocean in a drop." That is a Rumi quote, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like this also speaks to what we're talking about here about, how would love see you, because we are love. We are no different from love.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate on this quote in any way?
Oh, yes. I mean, I just, if I can tell a little story, I went to my bank this morning. I spoke to my bank agent and I told her what I did last year, that I had this fear of water and being immersed in deep waters. Even though I'm a very in-depth person, and you can see this in the way I talk and how I elaborate on things, and this is how deep I go with my clients, because the deeper we go, the more we can transform the nitty-gritty stuff, in our subconscious, which is sub because it's not conscious. But anyway, so I went to the bank and I told her what I did last year, that I rented myself a little boat with the captain who knew this boat, and we were crossing the Mediterranean Sea to Corsica, to the island of Corsica, which I love, which is a very natural, it's called the Pearl of the Mediterranean Sea. It's not built up like the Blue Coast here in the Côte d'Azur, where I am in southern France right now. It's just beautiful. And on the way back, the waters, we had like two meters. Oh God, how do you say this in American inches? I'm not sure. Like, let's say
2 feet maybe, or
I think 6 feet, because I'm 1.5 feet, or no, I'm 5 feet, I think 5.7 feet or anything.
We're just gonna say it was really big. It was
Yeah,
really, how about that?
We were as tall as I was, and the boat was really like this. And in the beginning, I was laying on top next to the captain because I didn't get any sleep that night. And then he said, "Victoria, it's better if you move back into your room and sleep. Go to bed and don't move, because it's really gonna get bumpy."
Wow.
And there I was in my room. I couldn't move. I was in my bed. Thank God I didn't get seasick. I didn't get seasick because I completely connected to the water. If Rumi said, or I'm not sure if it was Rumi, but somebody said, if you want to speak with the storm, you have to become the storm. If you want to speak to the oceans, you have to become the ocean. And so I was there, completely aligning with the water. I became the water. And I remember I was lying in my bed and I was just moving with the flow. I was going with the flow. And I completely gave my faith and my love to Mother Mediterranean Sea to bring us home safe and sound, and not to rock the boat too much, because it was a little boat. It was like a nutshell compared to the huge bumpy waters. But it was such a beautiful experience. And then I told my agent, this bank agent this morning, I said, this is what I did in order to transform my fears. And she said, oh my God, I'm too afraid of water. I couldn't do this. And I said, well, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. And this quote, I was really living. And so I just encouraged her to do the same, become the water, become whatever you're facing, and this is how you're going to lose your fears, because everything is really loving you. Everything is there to serve you. Everything is there to teach you something. And if your time is not up, and I really believe it's a choice when we move back into our spiritual state, out of this physical body. I mean, I didn't want to die that day. Of course, I was facing in the beginning, oh my God, what if the boat gets, what if the waves are too, what if we can't make it, So when I started thinking about this, I realized, oh, wait a moment, I'm in my ego now. The ego is trying to control things. The ego is trying to control the outcome. I'm just going to have faith. I'm going to put my love and my faith into the water. I know that, la mer is the same word here in France. Yep. Exactly. La mer is the same word like mother. It's written differently, but mer means mother here in French, and ocean.
Yes, I took French. I know that part.
Yeah, and I said to myself, okay, my mother is not going to kill me. My mother is not going to kill me. And I connected to the dolphins. I connected to the whales. I connected to the turtles that we saw on the way over when it was really smooth, And I was fine. And we were all a little shaken through, but we arrived home safe and sound, and I thanked the water for carrying us. And it was such a beautiful feeling. And I'm no longer afraid. And so,
Doris.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I don't mean to cut you off. What were you going to say there?
No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that is such a beautiful story, because you're really talking about not resisting, not fighting against the current, but going with the current, literally in your story, because of the sea, the ocean. And that just brings to mind another story I want to share that I literally just heard a little bit ago. So, because I think that this is really going to be relatable. Both of these stories are very relatable for our audience. So I was just hearing the story of someone who was in the process of putting himself out there in the world and felt like he had no credibility. He didn't have credentials. He wasn't certified in anything. He wasn't a doctor or anything at all. He just was someone who knew some things and wanted to share it with people and help. And so he attended a conference, and it was one of those conferences where they print out name tags ahead of time. And so when you show up, then you grab your name tag and put it on. And so he's a guy, his said Mrs. and then had his name. Exactly. And so of course he was mortified, because he's like, oh my gosh, here I am, someone who I don't even feel like the way he described it is he didn't feel worthy of being in the company of all these other people that were certified and had all these credentials and all this kind of thing. And here he was, now he even had a name tag that, was embarrassing for him. And what he chose to do was very similar to what you just described. Instead of being embarrassed of it and I don't know, hiding his name tag or whatever he could have done, he actually chose to lean into it and use it as a moment of humor. And he would introduce himself, "Hi, I'm Mrs. So-and-so," and extend his hand out. And it was just such an awesome story of how, regardless of what you're faced with, if you stay true to who you are, which is what you were describing too, you were staying true to, you are the ocean, you are one with it, you are love, you know who you are. And therefore, then how am I going to lean in and respond to this situation? And I love that. So I just wanted to share that added story.
Yeah. And it's a great story, because you're bringing up a very important point. To be humorous with oneself is so important, Kim. If we take things serious all the time, I learned a long time ago not to take things personal, because this is really what is keeping us from being love, And when you take something personal, you're in your ego. But this is wonderful, because it shows how with self-humor and just laughing about things, not really taking them too serious, because that as a soul, you have no gender, And I believe that this is when you look into the mirror, our left side is exactly the same like the right. We have two arms, we have two eyes, we have two ears, we have two legs, And we have two brain halves. We have two brain hemispheres. I think I mentioned that the last time. Helene says, amen. Oh, thank you. Anyway, so, this is so important, to be able to laugh about yourself.
Yes. I want to share a comment here, because Helene also put another comment on the screen. She said, "Life is awesome to live. I know that more than ever after cancer. Now I live with blessings in every way, and I am living for the blessing I received from the day I was born." Helene, you are awesome with how you continue to grow into what feels right for you. So thank you for sharing that and being you. Thank you. Doris. Okay. I want to ask our audience a few questions based on what you've shared, because you've given, I would say, a lot of deep thoughts or deep considerations, possibly even journal prompts for our audience today. Mm-hmm. And so how does knowing that you are the ocean in one drop, or that you are love, what does that bring up for you? And if you'd be open to sharing in the comments, then feel free to go ahead and share that. If not, then you can just sit with that question and maybe journal on it or meditate on it later. But I really want to highlight that. When you ask yourself without judgment and just simply say, what does I am love mean for me? How am I the ocean in one drop? And just allow yourself to sit and receive the answer that shows up for you. Let's see, we have here, Helene is saying, Wowee to everything on me. I just learned this today, laughing out loud in me. Okay, I'm glad for you, Helene. Good, good, good.
And I love the poetry that she brings in, Helene. Wonderful. Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, so that's what's coming up there. Doris, one of the things I love to do, and our audience knows this, and I believe you know this too, is we love to pull cards and just really expand on the messages in the show. So I'd love to go ahead and pull some cards now. Doris, which deck, I'm going to let you choose. Which deck shall I pull from? I can pull from the How to Love Yourself deck, my Chakra deck, from Brendan Burchard's Motivation Manifesto deck, or from Cheryl Richardson's Self-Care deck, or I'm going to give you one more. I know this is a lot. Or from Abraham Hicks' Wellbeing deck.
The first one really spoke to me, How to Love Yourself. This is really going along with let your light shine. We can't let our light shine without loving ourselves.
Yes, yes, yes. I completely agree. And the card on top, this just came out in Monday's Inspirational Message. Monday is, I let my light shine.
I let my light shine.
Okay, so yes, let's see what added message wants to come through. So I'm just going to do some light shuffling, and then in a moment, Doris, I'd love if you would say when to stop, and of course, I'll pull the card that's on top at that time.
Okay.
Just some light shuffling.
Stop.
Oh, perfect. Okay, and we have here on top is, I listen with love to my body's messages.
Oh.
And the back says, I take a nice deep breath and release all resistance to healing.
This is just a roundup for our conversation today, right?
That's how it always goes, and I freaking love it. Yes, Doris. Yes, yes, yes. Shall we pull one more from this deck or from another deck?
Let's do the self-care.
Okay.
Yeah. The self-care. If we take care of ourselves, then we can love ourselves. And if we can love ourselves, we can let our light shine. So all starts with self-care. Thank you, Helene. Well, so are you, my darling. I'm just a reflection of you, my dear.
Okay, so Cheryl Richardson's Self-Care deck. And let's see what added message wants to come through. Give me just a moment here. Okay, when you're ready, Doris. So Doris, we have
this one. Let's take this one that fell down, right?
Yeah, we have two that popped up. And so let's see here. We've got this one and this one. Okay, so first one we have is relaxation.
You were talking about no resistance. There we go. Meditation, yes. Relaxation, no resistance.
And the back says, allow yourself to be lazy. It's okay to do nothing. And what I get from this too is that a lot of what we've already talked about, what you've shared with us, is all speaking to being.
Yes.
So it's kind of shifting that focus from the doing to the being.
Yeah. And actually, I want to elaborate on that a little bit. When people ask me, how are you doing? And I say, I'm not doing, I'm being. I'm being wonderful.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. And I see a connection with the next card. The next card says trust. And yeah, I actually see more now too. So it says, trust your decisions. March to the beat of your own heart. And what I love about this is trusting in who you know yourself to be. That's what I'm getting. But I'm also getting that, Doris, your business is called Trust and Shine, or your website is Trust and Shine.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I wanted to call my business that way, but that time when I integrated it, when I incorporated my business, they said trust is a word that has been violated, so you have to come up with a different word. And so my company is called Divine Light Consulting, because clients that they consult me because they want to find their divinity, their divine light within. So this is how I called it. But yeah, my website is still under the name Trust and Shine.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So I didn't know about that update. Okay. Awesome. And I want to go ahead and put that up on the screen for those who would like to connect with Doris. Her website is trustandshine.com, but say your business name one more time.
Divine Light Consulting.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. Divine Light Consulting. Awesome. Okay, and it looks like we have here, I believe Joanne is with us in the audience. I think this is Joanne. So Joanne, good to see you here too. She is inside the Every Day is a New Day Facebook group. And so if you would like to join that, then you absolutely have an open invitation and can join. Just go to Facebook and search for Every Day is a New Day and you can join the group. And Doris, I'm going to ask you some questions that I didn't ask you last time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this speaks to what we've already been talking about, but in a slightly different context. So we all have a highest self version of who we are and an ego self version. And we've already touched on that to some degree. How do you specifically know when you're being your highest self versus being your ego self?
The ego self, I measure everything based upon how I feel. When I feel restricted in any way, when I feel kind of limited, I know I'm in my ego. When I feel blissful, when I feel infinite, when I feel joyful, when I feel like, oh, right now is the best time of my life, that's when I know I'm in my higher self, in my God self, because the God self only knows pure bliss, pure joy.
That's a great way to describe it. So it's really allowing yourself to be in that flow so you can feel those feelings too, because I know that when we're in the space of resistance, it actually can be harder to feel our feelings.
Well, that's something that I really taught myself. I've always been very, very touchy-feely. I've always been extremely feeling. You know, I remember how my mom said to me, "Oh, you're way too sensitive. You're way too sensitive." So I grew up thinking that this was a flaw that I had. Well, today I'm actually proud of it because this deep feeling allowed me to know and to find God.
I love that. Who here is also, whether you're live or on the replay, so to all of your podcast listeners too, who is currently in this space of finally accepting who you've always been, feeling into that, loving that, not denying that or making yourself wrong for that, and seeing the gift who you are. I would love to hear some I ams for those who are with us today. Hello to Sherry, who has joined us. Sherry is also saying, hello, beautiful souls. Hello, beautiful soul.
Hello, beautiful soul.
And I want to go ahead and remind everyone that we have launched, you know, it's so funny. I talk about we, it's kind of me, but I say we because I see it as a collective venture. We've launched the Let Your Light Shine movement. And I'm going to put that on the screen right there. And so if you have not yet joined the Let Your Light Shine movement, you have an open invitation, completely free and easy. It's simply another way to step into your power of owning who you are, how beautiful and amazing you already are. Because when you are you naturally shine. Just like Doris Victoria was talking about being in the flow of her bliss and joy and having fun and love and all of that. You glow when you're in that space. And when one person shines, our world shines that much brighter. So just another reminder about the Let Your Light Shine movement. If you have not yet joined today, I do invite you to do that. And with that, I was just on a call with some really awesome people yesterday, and we were talking about the Let Your Light Shine movement, and someone that I think of as already being very much in alignment, and she is, but someone who's already very much in alignment with who she is and her work in the world, and I perceive as not having any doubts or hesitation in owning all of that. It was interesting. She shared with me yesterday that when I invited her to the Let Your Light Shine movement, that she felt kind of a new level of, stepping into her power and owning that. And she had to sit with that for a moment. And so I want to share that because I get it. When I received the inspiration for the movement, I had some of that too. And I actually took a few months to move through that and recalibrate my energy with that so I could share the movement with you. So I want to make sure you know that if you're feeling some of that, it's okay. You're not alone. And I would encourage you to allow yourself to breathe into that, to lean into that feeling, because if you're feeling that resonance, there's something there for you. And so I just want to make sure people know that. So, Doris, do you have any thoughts about that? I feel like this very much speaks to the story you were sharing earlier too, about, the ocean and choosing to lean into it and become one with it. And any thoughts?
It's interesting. It might not really be related to that, but what was coming up for me while I was listening to you is a big part of it is to really don't judge you when you're feeling low. Life is not a constant high ride. If you're in a hospital and somebody is put on a heart machine, on a heart monitor, it would go deep, deep, deep. So ups and downs. If it's going deep, then what happens? The person is dead, right? So life is not a constant high. Even I say that my biggest search, my biggest quest was to find God. And I think I found parts and pieces of it, but I'm still not 100% there. We're all on our journey, and this is why we're here. This is why we're walking this planet. So when you're feeling low, embrace those low feelings. Be your own divine mother. What I do is I speak from my soul self with love to my human self. And I say, what's up, my darling? You're sad today. Oh, you know what? I'm here for you. I listen. So tell me what's going on. Just have a conversation with yourself, a loving conversation. Like, there's no judgment. You are allowed to feel whatever it is that you're feeling, because your feelings are sacred. Everything you are is sacred.
That's beautiful, Doris.
And I needed to share that.
That was a beautiful share. I love it. Thank you for sharing that, of being kind to your inner child, of being kind to your human self, who is, I'm also just going to say, designed to have these experiences of the ebb and flow and the different range of emotions.
Yep.
As you learn that you're more than all of this too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all accepted.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Doris, I love talking to you. Thank you for being here.
I love being here. Thank you for having me, Kim. And I just want to say that the deeper we go, that the deeper we go in the emotional scale, Abraham Hicks was talking about this. You and I, we at Quantum Success Coaching Academy, we learned about that. So the deeper your emotions you're allowing to feel, your powerlessness, despair, anger, sadness, rage, whatever it is, without hurting others, of course, and without hurting yourself. But the more you allow yourself to feel those, lower feelings, the higher on the scale you will be able to rise. Because, when you're walking down a valley, you're walking up a hill again. And then the deeper you go, the higher you will come up again, So, just remember that to feel whatever you feel is okay, because all your feelings are sacred.
That's wonderful. I love that. Thank you, Doris. And hello to all those who've joined in at just the right time. It is always just the right time. So good to see you. And I want to remind everyone that you can connect with Doris by going to trustandshine.com. Doris, do you have any other directions for people connecting with you, or anything you'd like to share?
Well, I have an English-speaking Facebook group as well that is called The Gathering of Spiritual Leaders, Teachers, and Counselors. So if you want to connect with me through my Facebook group, you are most welcome. Or you can, of course, PM me. That's always also a good way to connect with each other. Private messaging.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Doris, for being here today. And I know she's over in France. I'm here in the US. We've got a major time difference, and it's just wonderful that we are able to connect through social media and through technology and have these conversations. Thank you for taking time out of your day to do that.
My pleasure.
And thank you to everyone who was with us today, whether you were live or on the replay. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you being here. And thank you for sharing your thoughts and feedback as we moved through the conversation. And even if you didn't, but you watched, then I just want to acknowledge you too, because I understand when you're listening to stuff, and this was a deep conversation, just allowing yourself to absorb the words, absorb the perspectives, the ideas, to just sit with it, right? And you still have choice to go, where does this resonate for me? What do I choose here? Good for you. Good for you for allowing yourself to just be in the space of that conversation, allowing things to go deeper where it feels right, and being in tune with your emotions. So I applaud you for that. And thank you to everyone who's been here today. If you enjoyed this conversation, please do share it out with your friends. Go ahead and give it a like. That's always awesome and helpful too. And I'll see you all again on Monday with another Inspirational Message Monday. And the doorbell just rang for me, so I actually have to get going. Have an amazing day, everybody. Doris, stay right there. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.